Hello, I'm Dewayne Washington with the Supermedia Business Intelligence Services Department. Welcome to Level 1 MicroStrategy Training. The Business Intelligence Services Department provides analysis and reporting across various portions of the organization, including click traffic and revenue associated with clicks and calls. Our tool of choice is MicroStrategy, and the purpose of this training is to familiarize the user with the basic function surrounding the MicroStrategy tool. MicroStrategy is an online web tool used to achieve unlimited data analysis and data mining, build executive reports and dashboards, predict business opportunities, improve operations management, and enable executive decision making throughout the Supermedia organization. In this video, we will discuss object definitions, screen layout, report manipulation, saving a report, and exporting the report. This tutorial assumes that you have some working knowledge of the online tool. The purpose of this tutorial is to enhance the user's basic knowledge of MicroStrategy. First off, let's start with some definitions. Attributes. Holders of information allowing you to add context to your facts in a report. An example of an attribute would be a date or an SEM type code. Metrics. These are numeric values, counts, sums, etc. An example of a metric would be the number of clicks or the amount of revenue brought in. Filters. Filters are ways to narrow down data. An example would be a report that only included activity for a particular date. For those of you who are familiar with SQL, a filter would be the verbiage found in the where clause. Prompts, questions that include filters. An example would be a date prompt. And reports, formatted data from the data warehouse. Report objects. These are objects that are associated with the report. The user can choose to view all of these objects or just some. Now let's take a look at the various portions of the screen after running a report. Do not be alarmed if your screen isn't laid out in the exact manner as the one we have here, as this could be different depending on how your permissions have been set. Under the menu, you will see a home icon. Naturally, clicking this will take you to the home area in MicroStrategy, your landing page. Just to the right, you will notice there are two arrows. These arrows take you back and forth to previous pages you have viewed within MicroStrategy. These arrows should be used in place of the forward and back buttons on the internet browser. Just to the right of the arrows is an icon of a folder with an up arrow. This is used for navigation purposes when you're browsing folders. The last item to the right is a path to let you know exactly where the report is located within the MicroStrategy software. This is crucial for troubleshooting. Once again, depending on your permissions, you may or may not see this entire toolbar. Under the second menu bar, you will see some icons that should be very familiar, starting with the save icon, followed by the undo and redo icons. Next to those is a blue protractor used to take the report into design mode. The next three icons give the user the ability to change the type of report style. The first is grid mode, the second is graph mode, and the third is a hybrid of both. The next button gives you the ability to add this report to your personal history list. This will be used when you would like to pull up the exact same report, same data, same parameters at a later time, possibly later that day at a meeting. The next set of icons involves exporting the report into several formats. The first is the Send Now button. This button allows you to email the report you are currently viewing to someone else. The next is the Subscription button. You have the ability to subscribe to the report you are viewing and receive it on a regular basis. Perhaps you would like to save the report off in an Excel format. The next button is the Export button and allows you to do just that. Save off a copy of the report. Now let's talk about report manipulation. There are several options available to you when viewing a report. You have the ability to move columns around or drop columns altogether. You also have the ability to add more columns or rows. You can change the sort order on any column at any time. You also have the ability to add a filter to the report after the report is run. Through the View Filter option, you can limit the amount of rows you're currently viewing. Perhaps you've chosen a larger date range and you currently want to examine. You can use the View filter on the date column to limit the number of records you're viewing. With MicroStrategy, you have the ability to create a calculation on the fly. Maybe you want to sum the values of 3 columns. You can accomplish this by using a derived metric. After you have manipulated the report into a format and style that is desirable, you can save the report in your personal online reporting area. All right, we're going to go ahead and start by running a report, the Backfill Partner Traffic Report. As you can see, the very first thing that comes up are our prompts. So I'm going to pick a prompt that includes basically all of last year. So January 1st, 2009, and I'm going to leave the default of today minus 1 day. Here I'm going to choose the partner name of Yellow Pages, so I just double click there and bring it over to the selected area. And now I'm going to run the report. That report is going to bring us back several different metrics and attributes. Don't worry about that concept right now. We talked about that earlier, but it's not as important here, not right away. So here we have our date, consumer property name, and our subcategory, successful searches, impressions, gross clicks, and billable clicks. These are the different columns that you see on the screen currently. Now up here you see your report filter. Our report filter just basically tells us what did we filter on. Remember, we picked this particular date range and this partner key of Yellow Pages. So it's reminding us that everything we're looking at is between that date range and these Yellow Pages. Now, with that being said, now we can start playing around with the report. One of the very easy things that we can do is we can grab, and I'm just left mouse clicking, we can grab a column and we can move it to a different location. Maybe it's easier to see 2 columns next to each other for whatever analysis that you're doing, and so you can just grab that and move it somewhere else. You can also do a right mouse click and we can go to sort, and let's sort in descending order on that particular column. In this particular situation, it's gross clicks. So we've sorted descending on gross clicks. As you can see, the rest of the graph, or the rest of the grid, changed as well. Now, over to our left, we have a column called the date column. And we can take this column, and instead of just having it here, we can move it into an area that's called page by. So if we move that up into the page by section, notice we have January 21st is picked currently. And this is just automatically filtered for January 21st. Now if you click this down arrow, you'll see the rest of the dates are available as well. So if we picked a different date like February 4th, now this grid is filtered for February 4th. So that's just putting a date, or you can put any one of these into your page by area. So we can take that and bring it back down into the grid. Maybe the report that you're running already has a page by and you want to move it into the grid. You can do it just with dragging and dropping. Now another option that we have is to create what's called a view filter. Now a view filter is just simply a filter. If we go to tools, come down to view filter, and we want to filter the report by one of the objects that's located on the report. So here we have our view filter. Currently it's empty. We want to add a condition, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a view filter on the gross clicks. So we go down here to gross clicks, and we want to say that we want to get all the gross clicks that are greater than or equal to 100. And this little check mark is the apply, so we're going to apply that filter. Okay, and now you can see that all the gross clicks here are greater than 100. And even if we took this and sorted it, you'll see the smallest would be 100. Now we can take the date back into the page by to give us a better look at that. Now if you can see, now we have on February 4th, everything here is above 100 gross clicks. Okay, now since we have all of these metrics here, you may want to take two metrics and add them together. You may want to create a totally different metric. It's very, very simple to do. Do a right mouse click, you go to Insert Metric, and go down to New. We have an option here. Okay, so we can take, maybe we want to take gross clicks, and we want to add, for whatever reason, impressions. Okay, and we just want to call this test metric in the name. Okay, so now we've added our test metric here, and it's nothing but an aggregate of two of these other columns. Now you could do that with any of these metrics that you want to. You can multiply, divide, add, subtract, or do other types of functions on these particular metrics. So that's just adding what's called a derived metric. Now you'll notice that when I went to add some derived metrics, that there were a few metrics that, or a few objects that appeared in that list that were not, let's take a look at that, that were not listed in the report. Sum of non-billable click count, for example. It's not listed in this report. However, if we go and take a look at the rest of the report, in other words, the report objects, we can see all of these objects here are actually part of the report, even though they're not listed here. Now, the objects that are grayed out are objects that are currently on the report, and the objects that are black are not on the report. Now, at any point, and this just means that the report developer developed it with the ability to add these to the report later. So at any point, I can grab and drag and drop. For example, I'm dragging and dropping the partner key, Yellow Pages here, onto the report. Okay, and subsequently I can take it away from the report as well. So anything that's in the report objects, you can add to the report at any time. Now, you can also add other objects that may not be part of the report or part of the report objects. Now, you can do this by simply going to All Objects and finding that particular object. Now, we're going to add a month to this. So we're going to go to the Time folder, and we're just going to scroll down and add the month attribute. So I'm going to drag and drop the month attribute onto the report. Oops. Let's try that again. So what this is going to do is actually just add the month in number format to the report. So you can see here 2009-02, and that's correct because if you look at the date, that would be right. So let's just say we changed the date to a different date, and if you can see, as you can see, our month changes as well, 2009-03. So once again, we can add attributes to the report that are part of the report objects. We can also add metrics. These down here are metrics. These are attributes. If it has a small fx next to it, that lets us know that that is a derived metric. In other words, those are metrics that you made as part of the report and utilize the other objects on the report. Now, we've got, let's just close this, we've got our report just like we like it. And now maybe we want to save this report. So we go up here to the Save option, Save As. And we can take this report and save it in the My Reports area. This is your own private area. So backfill partner traffic reports, I'm going to put a suffix on it, DW, and save this to my area. As you can see, there's a keep report prompted area here, and the advanced options let us know how we want to prompt that. Save report as prompted. We have an option to only filter will be prompted, or only the template will be prompted. For most situations, you want the filter and the template to be prompted, unless you want to pick the same time frame each time. Now, the options that you've picked this time, for example, I picked all of last year and the first part of this year. If I want to create those as a default answers, I could here if I check that checkbox. Now, I also have an option to subscribe to this report if I want to receive it in my email inbox on a regular basis. So if I click on Home, come down to Subscribe to, and Email. It's going to give me an option to email this report and named anything I want. The time frame or the schedule, here I'm picking 10 a.m. and who I want to email this to. I want to email it to me. Now, if my name was not listed here, I could click on to, and I can actually create an email address from here, okay, if I wanted to. I'm going to send the data in email in an HTML format. This is going to be the subject of the email, and this is the message. So if I wanted to put any type of message there, I could. So I'm going to leave that blank for right now. It's telling me currently I have 0 subscriptions to this report, and I'm going to hit OK. That's going to create that subscription for me. Now, if I go back to my home area, click the little home icon here at the top on the toolbar, it's now going to show me that I have this subscription. It tells me the report and who the owner is, the schedule for it, and who the recipient is. So that's all listed out there for me in email subscriptions here. I'm sorry. And so if I wanted to unsubscribe, I could click here and unsubscribe to that report. Okay, I'm going to unsubscribe to both of them in this case. So now I'm no longer receiving that email on a regular basis. Now let's just say I go back and I don't want to actually subscribe to the report, but maybe I want to export the report. And so I just click on the export button, and I have an option to export this in a lot of different formats: Excel, CSV, Excel with formatting, HTML formatting, or just plain text. So I'm going to export Excel with plain text and keep all the other defaults. And so all this is going to do is dump all of that data that we were seeing inside and of an Excel document. And that's pretty much it for our beginner class. And we have more to come in our advanced class. So thanks for listening.
To learn more about MicroStrategy as a product and its functions, log on to www.microstrategy.com. Once again, I'm Dewayne Washington with the Business Intelligence Services Group. I hope this tutorial has been helpful, and if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to contact us.